Good morning. Bill Davis, Ancestry Lands, AncestryLands.com. Folks, today's video, we're going to just talk about something that my father used to say. Don't just do anything, okay? Don't just say anything. When I say that, I mean a lot of times in life, we think motion is progress. We think that just because something is happening, the outcome is going to happen. You think just because you're going to school, you're going to get a degree. You're going to get a good paying salary, a good income, good career. Because we are leading by our dreams, not our reality. I'm going to say that again. We are leading by our dreams, not our reality. Dreams are a great thing to have, but there's a reason why we have them at night while we're asleep. And while you're awake, you see, in your dreams, you can fly. You might be turning into an animal or have other fantastical, dreams where you're doing things that, again, while awake, are not part of your reality. And when I say that, it comes from a conversation where, I talk to, and again, I have many conversations with professionals, middle class, high income, white collar workers, and I'm just never surprised at, hell, even patients, patients with, deadly disorders or diseases that, pretty much they are on a timeline. The sands of time are winding down for them, and that last little bit where any day they could go. I say this because you ask, well, what does this have to do with land? And again, it always relates. Not every video I'm here to sell you something. Sometimes I'm here to tell you something. Other times I'm here to teach you something. You understand that? You want every video to be, girls shaking their behind or something else like that, bringing you no value. Sometimes you see a video on this channel where land is being sold, where I'm trying to sell you something. That's the intent. Whether in English or Spanish, the shorts are there too. There are other times where I'm trying to tell you something. You see me interviewing other people, other thought leaders, other people who are stewards of the culture or the generation at large. And there's other times where I'm trying to teach you something, where you're in these videos like we have right now, where you're hearing my thoughts as they come to me. I've had time to reflect on my thoughts, and that's where, when I hit the start and record, I pretty much know what I'm about to say. And when I say just don't do anything, I talked yesterday about in your business, starting a business, many people get very hyperactive and focused on, I got a business. They're emotional. I'm going to start a business, get an LLC. Well, that's great, but that's only one component of it. To start a business means that you're going to become independent and not reliant on what's already been established in the world, putting you in a cubicle, an office desk, a nursing floor, fry cook, or wherever that place of employment that you're going to seek and whatever that job has you do. But you're put there, which a lot of people feel that their identity is their job, or their job is their identity. You're put there to serve a purpose, to facilitate and run or administer certain components of how that organization runs. And people sometimes put their identity to a position, a job, that realistically you're just a number. That's why you have employee ID numbers, because you're a number in that cog of that wheel. Now, that's not a bad thing at all. Many people are happy with achieving that outcome And there's nothing wrong working at. I've done 20 years of nursing, and I'm going in my 21st year, and there's a sense of value and pride that I have in serving the community, helping people and touching people's lives along the way in my lifetime. I heard a funny saying that really reflected it. I'm gonna teach you something here. If you live a good life where you're kind and you treat other people well, that doesn't mean you gotta kiss people's behinds. But if you live a life worth living, that you leave behind good experiences, when you reflect on them when you're older, you will have lived a good life twice. Let me say that again. It was said much different from where I read it. But if you live a good life where you've touched people's lives, where you've helped people, and I'm not talking about, you helped this lady get the grocery. I'm talking about, like, when I see people who have, when I look back on the 50 or over 50 properties that we've sold, making new landowners, the conversations I've had with people who never thought they could own land, something so simple like that, when you leave that kind of lasting impact behind, when you can look at the body of your work, when you look at Ancestry Lands and you see over 1,000 videos, well, it's not 1,000 videos of just a product, it's 1,000 videos of the life of this company growing into how you perceive it today. Each and every one of you viewers, you're watching not only me selling land, you're watching how I use land as a vehicle to interact with other businesses. You're seeing how Ancestry Lands grows as a business. And now, if you were paying attention long enough, you're seeing how I'm positioning the business to be inherited by one of my 3 children, if not all of them. As I move further and further to the background, you will see my children move forward and forward and forward into the foreground. Those videos are coming. And you will see a new face of Ancestry Lands in the form of the next generation. Because our company's slogan is from one generation to the next. And they may have very wildly different ideas than I do about where to take this company. And that's the beauty of having something that is a story. If you watch all the videos, you can watch the progression in editing. You can watch the logos change. Our website has changed, has evolved. We've used different colors. The format of the videos have changed. And again, when I say that, is that you just don't do anything. Let me tell you how, when I first started this land business, how I got to where I'm at. And it wasn't just by doing anything. A few years ago, I would say, what was that? I've been in business now almost 6 years. So about 7 years ago, there were fires in Northern California. Big fires. You've seen them on the news. We've had 2 of them that my hospital is evacuated. Many nurses that I worked with, their homes have burnt down to the ground. So I watched the trauma of what happened and losing everything. And not they didn't have insurance or, they're fine now. They're actually, it was a blessing in disguise outside of the emotional trauma of, things that you can't get back, pictures, things like that, you can't get back. Those things were lost, gone forever, okay? And what I did notice afterwards, because again, you got to pay attention in life. Sometimes when things happen, you start getting clues. I was on the way to see my brother in New York, and I noticed when I talked to a nurse, she was saying that, hey, people are coming in and buying up what is now vacant land because the house burned down. They're buying up the land because there's no house on it. Now, if you know anything about Northern California, Napa County, Sonoma County, if you put a couple of pallets on a property, run a hose, and you could put some lighting on it, they'll call that a house, and that house will be worth $600,000-$700,000. Seriously, I lied to you not. You could have a mobile home, and that mobile home would be worth more than 3-bedroom brand new constructions here and in any part of the other parts of America. because I don't know why California is just so expensive to live in. It's not like, you know, the homes have changed. Most of them don't have central heating, central air, but still those homes are worth over $500,000. And homes over on the East Coast that are traditionally about 5 to 10 bedrooms, they're the same price as a 3-bedroom house over in Northern California. I lie you not. I lived over there. But in any case, still, they were buying the land for hundreds of thousands of dollars, like at least $200,000. They were buying them up like, I mean, no one's business. And we're not talking about land comparable to the size of properties that I own that are being sold from Ancestry Lands. Still in Northern California, the whole state, the real estate values are always going to be high. Because despite what Americans think, California still will be valued by many foreigners and migrants. You have a lot of Asians living in the San Francisco area, and they always move out. You have your Silicon Valley people. And this is one of the things people always miss about why the properties are over there. Again, it is not so you can own and build unless you want to. The properties are there because you're at a time able to buy a property that's affordable. Because the progress that's happening there, they're moving those migrants up through the South and they're settling into Southern California first. That's where the heavy population is. And then they start to get jobs, they get income, and then they move out of those areas and settle into the surrounding areas. I apologize for the sunlight, but hey, this is Sunrise with Philip Davis. You're driving with me. Folks, I'm going to take a minute to promote my book. I want you all to look on Amazon. My book, the link is in the description section below. Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing by yours truly, Philip Davis. And one of the reasons why I'm saying that down in Southern California is that when you buy these properties and these people come up, because again, you may not know this, but you could buy property in America. You don't have to be a citizen here. You do not. So these people come up, they pay in cash, and they're willing to pay above market value for these properties. So you're able to now buy this land from me, no interest, no credit needed. Just think about how this is set up to make your progress equal in outcome. You're not buying it on credit. That's if you want to do the financing. You're not buying it with a loan. It's not reported. It doesn't hit your credit profile. You're making payments for a price that's locked in today. That by the time you get done paying it off, the property values would have, gone up 20%. That's obviously speculation, but I have my own data from when I bought year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now year 6. The average selling of my properties has risen. So I have my own sample data to show because I've got skin in the game. I'm not talking about market and I'm looking at a spreadsheet or a chart. I'm looking at my own sellable data. You're buying it today. What you're doing buying today is locking in your purchase price. Your all-in is at this price, which will not be your sell price the day you get the deed in your hand. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. So in that, the land becomes more developed. There's more building happening. There's more business. By the time you get to the point where you're ready to buy, if you waited as long as the person who eventually paid the property off, you're talking about the person is now paying at the new market price, which is substantially higher than what your current all-in buy is for. See what I mean? So which means that you're making a profit while you don't even own the land. It's a great incentive, and I came up with that, that concept on my own because I do allow you to pay it off at a cash price, even while you're making payments. I've spoken to many of my friends who are businesses, thought leaders, and high intellectual people, and they love that concept that you get to pay, buy now, or it's I don't want to say it's kind of like layaway, but it's similar to that system. But the end result is that you have ownership with land, real estate. So I say to you again about going back to progress, leading to outcomes, not just progress for the sake of doing anything. When you look at the structure of Ancestry Lands, it's essentially a blueprint on how to model, run, and scale and be successful. Because a lot of times right now, and where I'm at in this business, I'm doing more to, I've written a book, I'm talking about my own mindset. So it's not just selling land, because again, when you own land, you got to have a certain mindset about being a landowner. The same way you got to have a certain mindset about it being a homeowner versus a renter. You know, when you own a home, there's a lot more responsibility and nuances where you have maintenance, do things fix things when things go wrong when you rent. But when you own, the person who does that is you. It's not maintenance that comes and does it, and they put a work order and a ticket when they're done, and you still pay the same rent. When you own the home, you now have the either manual responsibility to fix that, whatever it is. It could be plumbing, piping, your house caves in. You can either fix it or you got to pay somebody else to do it, which means you need to have capital. You see what's going on today. People barely got enough. They got enough just to get into the home. Oh, look at that sunrise, man. Boy, look at that. You see that sun? I'm glad we're doing videos on sunrises, on the sunrise too. So you see what's like a morning commute, you know? And thank you for watching, folks. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm not done yet. I'm just telling you all to subscribe. Hit the like button. Put a comment below. Let me know what are your thoughts on this video. What am I saying anything that hits home, or is it all just kerfuffle-fuffle? So again, when you see what I'm doing, I'm evolving it to not just be the land product, because again, like I said, when you own a home, the responsibilities are much more intricate and detail oriented. Like one of the differences, when you own land, you have property taxes to deal with. Your mind has to be, you know, I've talked to my nephew who's bought a property, some of my cousins, and they now have to be responsible for yearly real estate property taxes. Something that they'd never done. They didn't know how to log into a New Mexico County treasurer and pay their property tax bill. Their conversation about properties that they own have changed. Because now when they talk about properties, they talk with the knowledge of knowing that, hey, you know, I'm thinking about doing this with my land. I've been talking to contractors. They're interacting with people outside of their natural environment because they have an asset that allows them to have exchanges above their resource level that they previously had. You see me in videos with Don Combs. And the reason being is that those videos come out of me having a business now that I can operate. We have business conversations. And it only comes when you have this level of growth. So I say to you again, you can't just do anything. When I started my land business, I wasn't the only person. I started with a group of people who became landowners. Everyone achieved their first property buy. It was a very, 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 I would say, high octane environment, because, you know, you're learning about the business. Now the business, when I learned how to buy land, it was much different than what's enclosed in my book. It pretty much was how to find the land, identify a potential owner, and buy the property. It told you nothing of what to do afterwards. Didn't give you a model to sell it. I didn't know how to market the property at all. All I had was some Google map images. I didn't know to have a photographer to do drone videos. If you look at this channel, I was doing drone videos a long time before they were doing drone videos with homes. If you go back to years ago, I was doing drone videos. And how did I do that? My photographer, I bought him a drone. Right. But again, going back to the other people, when they first got into the business and learned, and when they first got their first property, you know the first thing they did? Let me ask you a question. Do you think they, A, tried to market the property to themselves and see what would work and what would not work? Do you think they, B, decided to hire someone else to market and do everything for them and pay before they've even made a profit? This is before this first property. Or C, do you think someone sat on it at all? Well, if you chose B, they decided to hire somebody and try to sell the property for them, before they've even made a profit, you were correct. Even things that they learned about the business, they were so willingly to hand that position away, that responsibility away, to get someone to do it for them. Now, I'm not talking about automating through systems and CRMs and things like that that can pull data. I'm not talking about data analysis. I'm talking about people doing tasks that essentially they could do to learn. You know, it's just like a baby learning to crawl, but letting another child do it for them so they don't have to walk. And it was something that I really had a hard time with. And I said, man, how can you start a business? You just got done learning it, and you got the first property bought. You bought the property because you were doing it. You were doing the research. You were pulling the data. You were looking at comps. You were looking at the areas where you wanted to buy property. You identified the property. You identified the owner. You made the sales agreement through, you know, the trying to get the property under contract and buying the property. You did all of that work, and when it's time to sell, you say, here you go, to someone else. Now, that's great when you're employing someone to be a salesperson, but this is the person who you don't even have an LLC to your name. You know, and you start thinking about it when people start doing these businesses like this, they're so ready to hand it off, have someone else running it. And that's where you see that we have a high debt level based economy, because people are so interested in getting to the CEO position that they're really not interested in learning and scaling up their business, understanding how it functions, how it works. And what you have is a lot of people wanting to get paid as a CEO, but can't run their companies like a CEO. That's, again, I made the progress of making myself CEO, but I haven't worked a day with a shovel. I haven't used one brick. That's owning a construction company. Like, you know, being an owner of a construction company and not having laid one brick, not mixed one cement, not able to operate one piece of machinery. You know, I've talked about this before. People think that they're doing something because it looks like movement. I'm going to school. I'm going to college. Okay, what degree did you pick that matches up with the reality of the job market that exists today? Yeah, when you go into college, anyone who's young, because I do have a younger audience that watches, you're 18 years old. To my 18-year-old audience, when you're picking your degree, you have to separate what you want to do, what I dream of doing. You have to separate that and look at the world in the market that we have right now. I've talked to many nurses that have a degree before they chose nursing, and essentially they went to school for 4 years, wasted all that time, got all of this debt, only to sit back and say, I really wasn't interested in it. Like, and are not millionaires on top of that. It makes no sense. And then the men, the stupid men that are with them, have married them and essentially assumed their debt because they're in the pursuit of another degree and another degree. And then what happens is the politicians understand that you want to be so educated and find happiness, so they want to sell you the dream. Martin Luther King had a dream. He did. And he died for that dream. Like, that was his reality of a dream, right? Because he ended up dying for it. And I'm not saying that to throw shade or anything like that, but again, that was the reality, the exchange for his dream of seeing equality. The world that we exist in is not the world he existed in the sense of this is what the outcome he was looking for. But again, no one talks about the price you have to pay for that outcome. Because when you lead with the dream, the outcome can be very rewarding, but the price may be heavy. Let me say that one more time. When you lead with a dream, the outcome will be very rewarding, but the price that you have to pay will be heavy. So again, I say to you, you can't lead with your dreams, man. Your dreams are something that you keep inside. that when you get to the place in reality, you got to get to a capital position where you can make your dreams an outcome without paying the heavy price if you're making your dreams the forefront thing you're going after. I mean, very few people can do that in life. Very few. And everyone thinks that they're always different. But in reality, you got hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans because, again, they want you to have the student loans. I can get them forgiven. If you have 20 years of student loans and you're still waiting on another 13 or whatever else, you probably start paying them off. Try to pay them. And I talk to nurses all the time. These people can save your life and when you have cardiac arrest. But guess what? They can't figure out how to get out of debt. It's crazy. You'd be surprised at the conversations that I have with nurses. These are people who save your lives, get you well, and they're supposedly the healers in this society that we live in. And they're up to their eyeballs in financial debt. They make a lot of money. But they do not manage their money well. They do not manage their money well at all. So I say to you again, something that you have to think about, consider. You cannot lead with your dreams to make them the only outcome. The price you may pay may be heavy. You cannot just have progress, movement. You can't just go to college and think that because I'm going to college and I get a degree, it's going to equate to me making $100,000. You need to look at the environment that you exist in today. I'm talking to my children as well. You look at where the area is going. We got AI now. You got people with social studies degrees, historical arts, communications. I mean, again, these degrees are they're not doing anything anymore. They're not of value to the way the world is moving to. So you get stuck in jobs that you don't want. You work with people that you hate. And you don't have enough money to do things you want in life. So what do? You utilize debt to supplement your happiness. Because again, you want the dream of living above your means. Because you see other people doing it. But those other people that you're looking at are the outliers in your life. They're not the majority of the people who you sit around and see that, hey, most of the people I live around are at this level. So you're going to use debt to supplement your life and get yourself in deeper and deeper into a hole. Then you have children, and what ends up happening then? Now your children are inheriting the trauma of you living in a debt-based income economy for yourself, a microeconomy. Your children are watching what you do. They're watching how you spend. They're watching what you value. They're watching what you spend most of your time on. Your phone, Instagram. You're buying a whole bunch of Jordans. You're spending credit card. Your respect for money is how children are going to respect money. You see now all these videos talking about not being taught things how to manage money. Parents struggling. Single parents being divorced and struggling through life. People living hood rich, if you will. And why is that? Because again, they weren't taught the things that they needed to win the game of life. They were just shown that fancy cars and fancy clothes equated to real financial success, which it doesn't. It does not. And they've come to value the same thing. And it doesn't equate to a successful outcome. Go to college, get a degree. That's what you hear people say. They don't tell you what degree. They tell you just to get one. And then when you get one, you figured out, hey, I only get paid $20,000, $30,000, which seems like a good thing at the time. But realistically, you figure out when you got to pay that apartment rent, when you got to pay a car note, when you got to pay the electricity bill, you're having problems. Because the math wasn't mathed at that time. And again, you were just doing anything, not something that you needed to do to achieve that outcome. Just doing anything. That's all we're doing. So I say that, folks, because I'm trying to teach you something, man. You got to do your research. You got to make sure that your dream is achievable with reality in mind. You got to make sure that when you start doing something, business, whatever you're going to start doing in life, you've done your homework, you've done your research, and you're taking your steps with the end in mind. The E-N-D, the end in mind. So the outcome is what you have your eye on, because you want to make sure your steps walk you towards that outcome. The outcome you're looking for. You can't just, I'm going to go get a degree. I want $100,000 to get paid $200,000, but I want to work at McDonald's, and all I want to do is just say I got a degree. That's all I want, is to say I got a degree. It doesn't work that way. The math ain't mathing, huh? It ain't math. As you can see, folks, are right now in the morning in Philadelphia City. Just coming to the Drexel University area district. You can see now it's a beautiful day. This is the Amtrak station here. Excuse me. This, what is that? Train station at University of Penn. Very prestigious area. A lot of hospitals, a lot of main doctors, a lot of new medicine happening over here. And I'm glad to be part of it. I'm glad to be a businessman and a person of medicine. Really am. Folks, Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands. We're going to close out here. Make sure you get my book, Getting Dollars from Dirt, on Amazon, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. I am your host, Philip Davis. Remember, folks, you either own property or you'll be owned as property. Take care, and I'm out.
Are you curious about the secrets behind those who have made fortunes through vacant land investments? Look no further. We have the perfect solution just for you. Introducing Getting Dollars from Dirt, A Beginner's Guide to Vacant Land Investing. This extraordinary book serves as your ultimate resource if you aspire to make a significant impact in the real estate market. Inside, you will uncover time-tested strategies and expert tips that will effortlessly guide you through the realm of vacant land investing, regardless of your experience level. Bid farewell to perplexing terminology and overwhelming information overload. This book has been meticulously crafted to offer practical steps that will kickstart your journey toward financial independence. Discover the art of recognizing the most lucrative vacant land opportunities. Getting Dollars from Dirt leaves no stone unturned. You will acquire the confidence and knowledge necessary to make shrewd investment decisions. Secure your copy of Getting Dollars from Dirt today and embark on your path to wealth. Click the link in the description below to order your copy now. Don't delay another moment. Begin constructing your fortune today.